Alert! Aircraft inbound!
The destruction was beyond shocking. But what happened after the bombs fell will leave you speechless. These places were completely transformed. You won't believe how they look today. Sit back and witness the incredible transformation from ruins to a new beginning. In the waning days of World War II, the Place Kleber in Strasbourg bore witness to a striking scene. German prisoners, under the watchful gaze of Allied Sherman tanks, cleared away the barricades that had become symbols of the city's resistance. Paris, France, August 1944. As the Allies closed in on Paris, the city's residents took to the streets, erecting barricades and rising up against their German occupiers. At the intersection of Pont Neuf and Quai de Conti, this defiant act of resistance unfolded, with a makeshift barricade serving as a symbolic stand against oppression. In the immediate aftermath of the D-Day landings, the city of Caen found itself at the heart of the conflict. This striking image highlights American troops and vehicles amidst the rubble of the city, a visceral reminder of the sacrifices made to liberate France from Nazi occupation. While the physical scars of war have healed, the memory of the Battle of Caen remains an enduring testament to the bravery and determination of the Allied forces and the resilience of the French people. The Battle of Porta San Paolo on September 9, 1943, marked a pivotal moment in the Italian resistance against the impending German occupation of Rome. This image captures the intensity of the fighting, with soldiers and civilians alike erecting barricades and taking up arms to defend their freedom. Though their efforts were ultimately overwhelmed, the bravery and sacrifice displayed at Porta San Paolo have become enduring symbols of the Italian people's unwavering spirit and their resolute pursuit of liberty. After their landing on Juno Beach, Sherman tanks head toward Bernières-sur-Mer. The image shows their determined advance, crucial to establishing a solid front in the Normandy region. A Sherman tank maneuvers through the main street of a village, with the exit known as E3 visible in the background. Its presence in the village marks a shift from invasion to occupation. Remains of tanks left behind after the fierce fighting lined the borders of D5, leading from Avranches. The abandoned vehicles stand as silent witnesses to the intense battles that shaped the region. On June 19, 1944, an American tank battalion rolls through the ruined streets of Iceny, France. Damaged buildings in the background bear scars from relentless shell fire and bombing, showing the price of liberation. In the early morning of June 6th, the 101st Division established a field hospital at Château Colombier. Just days later, on June 9th, a German bomber attacked, destroying the western part of the chateau. Fortunately, the wounded had been evacuated to the beaches earlier that day, averting a larger tragedy. Elements of the 9th Infantry Brigade make their way to La Brescia. The photo captures their arrival, a critical step in the Allied push forward during the Normandy campaign. In 1944, the Oxham stood as a refuge during the liberation of Caen from German occupation. Transport trucks lined the square, likely aiding in evacuation efforts before Allied bombings devastated the city. Despite the destruction, this historic abbey survived, its walls offering shelter to many civilians. Along the road between Hermville and Weistram, a house once used by a German sniper now lies vacant. Its strategic position reveals how close and unpredictable the danger was for advancing troops. A Churchill tank waits at the corner of what is now Place Corbett. The setting, quiet now, was once a pivotal point during the Allied advance. On August 12, 1944, Privates Albert Thibault and Fernand Lachance of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Division headquarters are seen en route to Falaise. Their journey highlights the ongoing efforts to secure vital areas in the region. Lance Corporal Don Fife of the Canadian Provost Corps rides a motorcycle on the same route toward Falaise on August 12, 1944. His role as part of the military police ensured order and security on the advancing front. An antique trolley car graces the Place Fontaine in this historic photograph, with the towers of Saint-Étienne Abbey visible in the distance. These iconic modes of transport had already faded into memory by the time World War II began. The pipeline known as PLUTO, pipeline under the ocean, is seen in action, delivering essential fuel to Allied forces. This logistical innovation was a key factor in sustaining operations after D-Day. French peasants returned to their homes near Montebourg, France, after the Allied forces liberated the area from German control. Their quiet resilience reflects the hardships endured during occupation. An airship hangar, originally built by the French, was repurposed in July 1944 by the 105th Ordnance Battalion. Its sheer size demonstrates the strategic value it held during the war. As the threat of war loomed, Dutch soldiers mobilized in the streets of Alkmaar, their determination etched on their faces. The Umbach School building served as a rallying point for these brave men preparing to defend their homeland. On June 27, 1944, Crusader vehicles pull anti-tank guns through cruelty as part of the 9th Canadian Infantry Brigade's movements. The photo highlights the combined strength of infantry and artillery in the campaign. Troops of the Durham Light Infantry enter a village, advancing cautiously through narrow streets. The sight of soldiers moving through once quiet towns reflects the ongoing fight to reclaim occupied territory. Material and vehicles that landed on Juno Beach make their way inland. The photo captures the logistical efforts that followed the D-Day invasion, ensuring the Allies could sustain their hard-won foothold. Roadblocks and barricades lined the Immerbrug in Alkmaar during the tumultuous years of World War II. This strategic bridge became a focal point of defensive efforts as the city braced for the uncertainty of war. While the conflict has long since ended, the Immerbrug stands as a testament to the city's resilience in the face of adversity. During World War II, the Grand Neuburg Palace in Vienna became a canvas for Nazi propaganda. In 1942, the entrance showcased an exhibition, while the Prince Eugene Monument stood walled off, shielded from potential bomb damage. Today, the palace has reclaimed its cultural significance, housing museums that celebrate Austria's rich heritage and global connections. On June 27, 1944, members of the 23rd Field Ambulance of the RCMC are seen laying flowers on graves. From left to right stand Private W. Youngin H. Rochen MG. The grave on the left, belonging to Private A.J. Barnes, remains preserved in the cemetery today, marking a solemn tribute to their fallen comrades. In the aftermath of liberation, Piazza del Duomo resonated with the rallying cries of the Italian resistance. Here, Vincenzo Moscatelli, a commander of the Garibaldi Brigades, addressed a jubilant crowd, their spirits emboldened by hard-won freedom. The iconic Duomo Cathedral provided a striking backdrop to this pivotal moment in Italy's history. If you are enjoying it, consider subscribing to support more videos like this. The Day of Liberation in Milan was marked by joyous scenes at the Piazza del Duomo. Partisans of the Abrami Brigade assembled beneath the iconic arches of the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, their spirits soaring with the arrival of Allied forces. This symbolic gathering place became the heart of a city reborn, its people emboldened by their hard-won freedom. In the early days of the occupation, German soldiers waited patiently at the Alkmaar train station, their presence a chilling memory of the war's reality. Nearby, their officers took up residence in the stately Huis Voorhout, transforming it into a headquarters for the Wehrmacht forces. These contrasting images offer a glimpse into the lives of both occupiers and occupied during a dark chapter in Alkmaar's history. On March 6, 1933, the swastika flag was hoisted above Freiburg's town hall, a defiant act by SA men, despite the mayor's explicit prohibition. This brazen display of power marked the beginning of the Nazi regime's tightening grip on the city's administration. While the flag has long since been lowered, the scars of that day remain etched in Freiburg's collective memory. The once peaceful streets of Schagen were disrupted by the arrival of Wehrmacht soldiers during the German occupation of the Netherlands. Their imposing presence cast a pall over the town, a clue of the harsh realities of war. Though years have passed, the memory of those turbulent times remains etched into Schagen's history. In an extraordinary twist of fate, the small town of Sigmaringen briefly served as the capital of the French state, or État français, after the Vichy regime was relocated from France in 1944. The imposing Sigmaringen castle became the heart of this unlikely wartime arrangement. Today, the castle stands as a symbol of the complex political maneuverings that unfolded during those turbulent years. Even before the outbreak of World War II, the Nazi regime's ideology of a national community was on full display. Street collections, like this one in Rothenburg, aimed to alleviate poverty among those deemed racially and genetically worthy by the party's standards. This chilling image serves as a stark reminder of the regime's distorted values and the dangers of unchecked discrimination. A lone German soldier stands guard on the Langstrasse in Alkmaar. His presence a sobering symbol of the city's occupation during World War II. The once vibrant street lies eerily still, its residents forced to adapt to the harsh realities of life under Nazi rule. While the soldier has long since departed, the memory of those dark days remains deeply etched into Alkmaar's collective psyche. In the aftermath of war, an old bunker in Alkmaar took on an unexpected new life as a flower shop. This striking juxtaposition of military remnants and natural beauty acts as a moving metaphor for the city's journey from conflict to peace. Where once instruments of war stood, now blossoms flourish, a sign to the toughness of the human spirit. The Freiburg Theater, a grand neo-Baroque edifice, fell victim to the bombings of November 1944. Its once magnificent facade lay in ruins, a casualty of the war's unrelenting violence, yet like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The theater was meticulously rebuilt after the conflict ended. Under German occupation, the once sacred spaces of Caen took on new, profane purposes. A Catholic house was transformed into a cinema, its hallowed walls now echoing with the sounds of entertainment rather than worship. This jarring repurposing served as a link to the past occupiers' disregard for the local culture and traditions. The arrival of German soldiers in the streets of Znain cast a pall over the town, their presence an unwelcome intrusion into the lives of its residents. The iconic Assumption Cathedral loomed in the background, a silent witness to the occupation. Though the soldiers have long since departed, the memory of their arrival remains seared into the collective consciousness of Caen. In the aftermath's revolution, around 1919, Guard infantrymen took up positions on the Karolinplatz, their machine gun trained on the iconic obelisk. The Prince George Palace provided a regal backdrop to this tense scene, a reminder of the city's turbulent past. While the revolution has faded into history, on July 11, 1944, a Sherman tank from the Sherbrooke Fusiliers Regiment advances into Caen. The streets, marked by destruction, show the cost of recapturing the city from German control. A bridge over the canal connecting Caen to Ouistreham is visible in the center of town near Bassin Saint-Pierre. The strategic location played a vital role in the city's eventual liberation. This view of Caen, taken from William the Conqueror's castle, provides a stark panorama of the destruction caused by Allied bombardments during the city's liberation. St. Peter Church in Caen stands partially destroyed, with its steeple missing after being struck by a Navy shell fired by HMS Rodney during the night of June 8 to 9, 1944. The entrance to Carrington by the street Holgate shows the devastation left by retreating German forces. The view reflects the strategic importance of the town in the Normandy campaign. Just a quick reminder, if you're still enjoying this journey through history, consider subscribing to support more videos like this. An M7 priest of the 14th Armored Field Battalion from the 2nd Armored Division stands at the crossroads of Holgate Street and the Paris-Cherbourg Railroad. Its presence highlights the coordination of artillery in the advance. American paratroopers ride in a captured German Kubelwagen at the crossroads of Holgate Street and RN13. The image captures their resourcefulness during the campaign. GIs stand at the same crossroads, now renamed Street of the 101st Airborne. Their relaxed stance suggests a brief respite amidst the ongoing conflict. A jeep carrying medics from the 101st Airborne drives along Holgate Street toward the crossroads with RN13. This moment reflects the constant efforts to care for the wounded even during active operations. A religious ceremony takes place in the Place de la République, where soldiers and civilians gather in a rare moment of peace. Such events provided comfort and unity amidst the chaos of war. Elements of the 101st Airborne sit with children near a World War I memorial. The light-hearted interaction contrasts with the somber surroundings, offering a glimpse of humanity during wartime. On July 14, 1944, a ceremony is held at Place de la République in front of a monument honoring the dead of World War I. The gathering symbolizes hope and resilience in a liberated town. On the west side of the Lafayette Causeway, the aftermath of a fierce battle is evident. The damaged landscape and scattered debris reveal the intensity of the fighting in this critical location. The entrance to Rue Saint-Jean in Caen has borne witness to the city's tumultuous history. In the background, the iconic Tower of St. Pierre's Church looms, a constant presence through times of peace and war. While the streetscape has evolved over the decades, the church remains a steadfast symbol of Caen's stability and enduring spirit. In the aftermath of the Allied liberation, horse-drawn carts brought much-needed supplies to those who had taken refuge in the Abbaye aux Hommes during the bombings of Caen. This poignant scene stands as a witness of the city's suffering and the resilience of its people in the face of unimaginable hardship. The Castle of Caen offered a sobering vantage point from which to survey the extent of the city's destruction in the wake of the Allied bombing. This haunting image shows the sheer scale of the devastation, with once proud buildings reduced to rubble and entire neighborhoods left in ruins. The brutal siege of Leningrad by Nazi forces left an indelible mark on the city's landscape and its people. This haunting image of a bombed-out school building is a visceral proof of the indiscriminate violence inflicted upon civilian populations during the war. The memory of the siege remains etched into the collective consciousness of Leningrad. On June 7, 1944, the marketplace bustles with activity as Allied forces consolidate their hold on the area. Soldiers move through the square, preparing for the next stage of the advance. At the end of Rue de la Mer, vehicles and equipment that landed on Juno Beach make their way inland. The steady flow of supplies underscores the meticulous planning behind the D-Day operations. On June 27, 1944, a Jeep ambulance transports frontline casualties. Private L.E. McKeating serves as the driver, with orderly Pivot L.F. Their efforts highlight the critical role of field medics during the campaign. A member of the Canadian Provost Corps guards the first German prisoners captured by Canadian troops on June 6, 1944, in the Normandy beachhead. The image symbolizes the shift in momentum as the Allies gain ground. Canadian soldiers land on Juno Beach on D-Day, June 6, 1944. The determined expressions of the troops as they step ashore reflect the monumental challenge they faced. Corporal Victor de Blois of Lee Regiment de la Chaudière stands guard over German prisoners on Juno Beach. The scene underscores the swift transition from combat to securing captives in the early hours of the invasion. Captured German personnel are seen preparing to embark for England. The photo documents the immediate aftermath of D-Day as the Allies manage their prisoners. At the railway station, German prisoners are gathered, awaiting transportation. Their guarded expressions reflect the uncertainty of their future as the war turns against them. A typical Norman house sits along the beach at Juno Beach. Its modest appearance contrasts with the immense military operations that unfolded nearby. On July 10, 1944, residents of a Normandy village look on as a Canadian bulldozer clears rubble from the streets. Their involvement shows the community's efforts to rebuild after liberation. Canadian infantry walk cautiously through rubble-strewn streets on July 10, 1944. The photo illustrates the challenges of urban warfare and the resilience required to advance. At Place Foch, the remains of the German commandantur lie in ruins alongside a World War I memorial. The juxtaposition of the two reflects the region's layered history of conflict. German tanks of the Sherbrooke Fusiliers advance into Caen on July 10, 1944. Their presence signals the start of a critical battle to secure the city, an essential stronghold in the region. If you haven't subscribed yet, you might never see this channel again, so make sure you're subscribed and don't miss out on more incredible history. If you've already subscribed, I'd love to know and comment where you're watching from. See you in next one. Bye.